Hitting monetized is a huge milestone, but no one tells you about all the weird little things that happen once you cross that threshold, and some of them are low-key bizarre. Let's break down the weirdest surprises of being monetized so you don't panic like I did. Okay, so when I monetized my YouTube channel, I wasn't expecting a pop quiz, but that's exactly what you get. Surprise! YouTube is going to suddenly make you rate your own content. There's a mini pop quiz every time you upload. There's this one screen that's called the self-certification page. And basically, every time you upload a video, there are these different categories that come up. You have to rate your video on all kinds of sensitive content metrics. Stuff like language, adult content, violence, etc. And YouTube has all these different categories you can go through and you can click it. And I'll tell you, when you're doing it, like, you feel like you're taking some kind of weird corporate ethics test. You know, the ones they make you take that are like, oh, would you ever steal something if you couldn't get caught? Or is it always good to tell the truth? Some of the trick questions on those are kind of bonkers, but you know what I'm talking about. So like, I'll be there, I'll be uploading. I'll be like, do I click occasional profanity if I say heck a few times in the video? How many hecks make a damn? Who decides? It seems really crazy, but the idea behind this is that YouTube basically has you do this, and then they also assess your videos with their AI and with some human auditors, and they match what you have rated for your suitability for community guidelines against what their checks do. And if the two things match, there's a trust metric in their system. So you're less likely to have false positives on monetization issues if they have deemed you trustworthy over time. Now the catch is, if you're dishonest, if you lie, they will not trust you, they will catch on, and the opposite will happen. So it's a very interesting process. It reminds me of the Cards Against Humanity. There was a card called Teaching a Robot to Love. That's basically what you're doing. You're teaching YouTube's monetization process to love and trust you. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I wasn't prepared for it. Thought I'd let you know. It's kind of a hoot. I always try to stay on the right side of this stuff, but sometimes it's like those Am I a Robot things will be like, choose all the buses, choose every motorcycle, and there'll be like one little piece that's kind of in between two boxes. That's how I feel sometimes. Okay, so the next really strange thing that happens when you get monetized is all of a sudden there are green dollar signs everywhere. Like, it is crazy. The whole UI, the studio background completely changes. Before monetization, I found that I was checking my click-through rate a lot. I still am, but nowadays, after monetization, I'm staring at little green dollar signs like they're stock market numbers. It completely changes the whole way you look at the UI. It really is strange when you see money indicators all over YouTube Studio for the first time, especially because if you're a small channel, your first payouts aren't going to be giant sweepstakes for most people. I actually did a video on how much I made on my channels the first month they were monetized. I have monetized 2 different channels. I did 2 different videos on them. I will link that below if you want to watch those after this. But yeah, it makes you feel like there's dollar signs everywhere. And that's just if you have green ones. If you happen to have a monetization issue and you get a yellow dollar sign, that's not a good feeling. That's a bad vibe. And I really thought that once I got monetized, I wouldn't check analytics as much. But I'm telling you, between there being real world money involved, however modest, and all of the dollar signs, I probably check a little more. Like, I hate to break it to you. They know what they're doing. They're playing mind games with us. Oh well. Okay, so the next thing that's kind of weird is that YouTube doesn't just give you money when you get monetized. You have to set up your AdSense first. And there's this whole process of linking up AdSense. And sometimes it takes longer than expected. It can be kind of bureaucratic. Mine got slow walked because there's a rule about only having one AdSense. And because my YouTube is on a family account with my husband, even though it was he who had the AdSense back in the day, it threw a wrench into everything. But thankfully we were able to get it all straightened out. You know, I've heard of this happening to other people. And when I was monetized in the fall, they were doing a new beta program with how they were even doing that. So I hesitate to give you a blow-by-blow of what it's going to be like because it is changing all the time. It can be pretty frustrating, but it's part of the whole shebang. YouTube is trying really hard with this process to stay verifying people because you really want honest actors on each side of the equations. You want video makers who are making good content that does not run afoul of advertiser guidelines, and you want advertisers that are not spammy and skeezy and horrible. So knowing who everybody is builds accountability. So I get it. It's just annoying when you're trying to get monetized for the first time. And as part of that, you might need tax forms and identity verification. Yeah, Google might need your social security number. No, it's not a scam. But once you get that all set up, there's this moment of realization that's like, oh, this is a business now. We're in business. So that's nice too. But it's not just the AdSense bureaucracy. There's another thing that kind of slow walks your first payout. And that is the fact that YouTube has a $100 minimum payout on AdSense. So if you're making like $1 a day, it might take you a few months to get a payout. And that's the reality for a lot of small creators. It's not a get rich quick scheme. Even the payouts take a little while. There's only a certain day they disperse, and there's that whole verification, then you have to hit the actual payment threshold. So it's weird, it's wacky, but you get used to it. Okay, so the next thing that was really odd and I wasn't quite ready for was the mid-roll ad placer. I'm telling you, YouTube suggestions are pretty aggressive. So if you don't know what mid-roll ads are, they are the ads that play in the middle of the video. Now, not all videos are eligible for mid-roll ads. Videos have to be at least 8 minutes long to even qualify for them. But they do actually contribute a lot to monetized YouTuber income. Now, YouTube has a wizard in Studio where you can go through and place where you think that mid-roll ads belong, so you can kind of watch your video and find the most natural place. However, you can tell YouTube to put an ad break somewhere and it's still gonna do what it wants to do a lot of times. I have found that they'll put it other places, they won't put it where I said, and I've heard the same from other YouTubers that ultimately the algorithm will do what it wants and your mid-roll ad placement is a suggestion. Some people just choose to turn them off altogether, which is totally a viable option. It will diminish your earnings. The idea is that it'll be less annoying for viewers, and it's less likely to bring up your flow. The only problem is that I've heard from multiple people who have turned off their mid-roll ad placement and YouTube still serves mid-roll ads, so I don't know what to tell you. It's weird, it's wacky, you're just gonna have to navigate it. I don't judge anybody's mid-roll ad placement decisions or a decision not to do them altogether. Okay, so the next thing is that your first earnings, once you get monetized and you start seeing them kind of tick up on the panel, they're kind of weird. They're wibbly wobbly, timely-wimey. And no, not because they're bigger on the inside, I wish. You could be in a situation where YouTube Studio displays like, congratulations, you made $10 today. And then like the next morning, you like look at it and it's actually $8.74. Especially at the beginning when you're first monetized, there's a delay in revenue updates and earnings can shift a little after the fact. I haven't noticed it to be huge, but if you're really watching, you will notice. As it turns out, ad revenue isn't finalized right away. Advertisers can change their mind. There's a lot of data in the sphere. YouTube has a little disclaimer about it. Basically, don't count your chickens before they're hatched. It'll probably be close, but don't spend every cent of your YouTube money. Like, there are multiple reasons not to do that. Taxes are one too. You should probably be setting aside about 30% for taxes just to be safe. Okay, so the next thing is that how much you actually make is really dependent on your niche. Advertisers bid to be placed next to your content. And depending on what kind of videos you're making and whether your channel videos are considered desirable or not, largely determined by niche, but there's some other factors involved too. There's a different CPM or RPM. So what are those things? Well, CPM is the amount that the advertisers pay for that ad space. YouTube splits it with creators, giving creators the majority share, 55%. And our cut, that 55%, is called RPM. The RPM is what you actually keep. And depending on your niche, your RPM can be really sky high or really low. Different niches pay different amounts. As an example, finance, money, business pays a lot. Content creator strategy like I'm doing now is pretty good actually. RV travel is a little bit lower than content creation, but still pretty good. Something like gaming doesn't pay very much. That's a very tough niche as far as payout. Even though it's a very popular niche, I think it's because it's really fun and a lot of people watch gaming content. It's probably there's so much supply and a lot of competition. gaming tends to not pay as well. It all depends. And I have found that different videos, even within my catalog, will do better or worse. And then I have to kind of say, huh, what's that about? You can kind of look and see trends. And if you want, you can kind of say, okay, well, I kind of want to make this video and it'll probably do better than this video in views and in money. And then you just start planning around it. But yeah, it can be really tough if you're under the impression that your niche is high paying and then you find out that you're not in a decent niche. But yeah, lots of weird things happen when you get monetized. Overall, it's been really great. I'm really thankful that I've been able to do this. It's really exciting to be able to share a lot of this with you. I love talking to you guys. It's always great talking to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.